Davy. Awesome. Welcome to Dave's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. And this week, we had AEW Dynasty 2025, live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Let's get into it. The opening match was an Owen Hart Tournament quarterfinals match. They're kicking it off at Dynasty. The winner of the tournament not only gets the Owen Hart Memorial Cup and belt, but they also get a shot at the AEW World Championship at All In. And in the first quarterfinal match, Will Ospreay takes on Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight, who through the qualifiers lost to Jay White, but he got injured. So, here he goes. It was a good match, and as good as Kevin Knight has shown himself to be in his couple matches in AEW so far, we still didn't believe that there was any chance that he was going to beat Will Ospreay. Like, if they wanted the drama of, oh, he might win, there's a lot of other people he should have been fighting. But it was still a really good match, really good back and forth. Kevin Knight is definitely very talented. I definitely see him having a big future. But it did come down to, after a hidden blade, Will Ospreay getting the win. But because he did put up such a good fight, at the end of the match, Will Ospreay, of course, gave him respect. I would say this is really good, but the drama wasn't really there. So I wouldn't give it a 4, but a very solid 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, Big Bill and Brian Keith versus the Hurt Syndicate. Okay, as much as I'm not a Bobby Lashley fan, this match was really good. Mostly because they didn't make Bobby Lashley look like a Hercules. Because with Big Bill there, somebody definitely bigger than him was actually posing a threat. But not to mention the storytelling in this, as it came down to Big Bill on the outside gets a surprise punch from MJF with the Dynamite Diamond ring. Because MJF is trying to join the Hurt Syndicate. This leaves Brian Keith alone to deal with both Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin by himself, which, as much as I don't like Bobby Lashley, I admit if I had to fight those two by myself, I'd probably cry. And it didn't go his way. They ended up getting the pin, the win, and retain their AEW World Tag Team Championships. And I also like the story of maybe MJF is going to join. I would easily give this one a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then another Owen Hart Tournament quarterfinals match, this time for the women. Julia Hart challenging Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné, who's hoping to win the tournament and go to challenge the world champion at All In and become the first TBS and women's champion. As far as this match goes, though, it was awesome. When I first heard about it, I was like, there's no way Julia is going to win the match. Mercedes Moné is the one they're pushing. But they did a very good job at making us go, could it be Julia, though? Because it was such a close call type of match. Especially when Julia Hart got her in the Heart Lock. But Moné was able to get out, and after a few reversals and roll-ups, she was able to actually squeak out the victory. Which, again, is not how I saw it going. I thought she was going to dominate and have a decisive victory, but not really the case. This was one of those matches that I think helped get Julia more over, while at the same time keeping Mercedes Moné over. And I love those kinds of matches. This one, a 5 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the Trios Championships, Rated FTR versus Death Riders. It was a great match, very exciting, and I'm not usually very into the Trios Championships. But number one, this one was built up enough. Like, Rated FTR has been feuding with the Death Riders for a while. Adam Copeland has failed in 2 attempts to get the World Championship, so naturally they're going to go after the Trios titles. But not to mention, with the stuff going on with Dax, being passionate, being seemingly angry at Cope for not being able to win the title, not to mention rifts between him and Cash. We were just really wondering, how is this going to go? Were they going to win the titles and then later break up, or what's going to happen? Well, we got the answer when eventually Willie Yurda was able to get the Psycho knee onto Dax Hardwood, while others held back Cash Wheeler and Cope, and able to get the pin over Dax Hardwood, so that Death Riders retained their AEW World Trios Championships. But it was after the match that we got the real story, where, like expected, Dax attacked Cope. First doing a pile driver, then trying to do a concerto, Cash there being the voice of reason, until it turned out that he was turning on Cope as well. The two of them really working Cope's neck, spike pile driver, concerto, and leaving him lying in the ring. This one, for not only the action in the ring, but the story going on, another 5 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the AEW Women's World Championship, Megan Bayne challenging Timeless Toni Storm. It was really good. And I gotta give Megan Bayne the props. You can see that she's still, kind of green. but she is really good. And whereas she's a powerhouse, she's not just a powerhouse. She's got some skill. Of course, Penelope Ford was there, constantly trying to help her out, until Luther, working for Titus Tone Storm, didn't attack her, just carried her out. And again, what I love is when you can't tell what's going to happen. Because whereas Megan May is very new, she's also like ripping through the women's division, so were they going to give her the title quickly and have her have one of those meteoric rises? Or were they going to do the thing where it's like, you went a little too hard too fast and it cost you? Well, it seemed to be that one. As she was about to hit her finisher onto Toni Storm, got rolled up into a small package so Toni Storm could get the pin, the win, and retain her AEW Women's World Championship. This match, like I said, it was really good. I wouldn't say it was 5, but easily a 4. Yeah! Then the final Owen Hart tournament quarterfinals match for the night, another men's one, of the Protostar Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. It was really good, and I also just like that they're constantly building up Kyle Fletcher as an extremely brutal wrestler who's just trying to end careers. As he did 3 apron power bombs to Mark Briscoe, and then because the referee said something about it, decided to do a barricade power bomb to Mark Briscoe. But Mark Briscoe was able to get through it, fight him off for a while, but eventually Kyle Fletcher got the top rope brainbuster onto Mark Briscoe, got the pin, the win, and he is advancing to the semifinals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. You know, it's a tournament match, so there's drama, but not quite as much. And I wouldn't say it was more exciting than one before, so I could not give it a 4. But again, another easy 3. Yeah! And then, Mask versus Ring of Honor Championship, as Bandito puts his mask on the line for Chris Jericho's Ring of Honor Championship. I mean, it was a great match, but the ending was kind of iffy to me. While the ref is distracted, Chris Jericho hits Bandito with Floyd, the bat, then hides it, gets the pin and the win, retaining his ROH Championship. However, Aubrey Edwards, who was not the official ref in this match, is on the outside, speaking to Bandito's mother and sister, and they're telling her that he hit him with a bat and hit it. She finds it, so they make the match restart. I understand sometimes they do match restarts, but this was a little ridiculous in my opinion. And very quickly after this, Bandito gets the pin, the win, and is once again the Ring of Honor champion. Which I will say is the result I kind of wanted. I wanted Chris Jericho to lose the ROH championship, and I'll get more into that later, but I'm just very iffy on the ending, which I will get more into later. But because of this, whereas I would have given this like a 4 at least, it bumped it down to a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the TNT Championship, with no time limits and no outside interference, Adam Cole, baby, challenging Daniel Garcia. Because they'd had matches in the past and they keep ending in draws. And in this match, Daniel Garcia was getting a little brutal. Like, it was clear he was like not just trying to win the match, but injure Adam Cole. Even though he was the one that ended up getting a patella drop onto the steel steps. But again, Garcia kept trying to just really injure him, like top rope pile drivers and stuff, and it didn't work out. And it eventually cost him, as Adam Cole was able to get the pin, the win, and is now the AEW TNT champion. Which I'm very happy about for several reasons, which I'll get more into later. But not only was there respect given, we got a new champion. And this match, easily a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then probably the match of the night. Triple threat match for the AEW International Championship, with Ricochet versus Speedball Mike Bailey versus Kenny Omega. This match was amazing. It was chaotic. So much back and forth, so much craziness going on. And I even got to give it to Speedball Mike Bailey. Even though, if you guys have watched my reviews from TNA, I've made it very clear. I'm not a big fan of his. I really feel like he's very overhyped. But in this match, I will say, finally living up to this hype. Even being a little entertaining, as he had injured his knee in the match and decided at one point to see if he could get Ricochet with the Karate Kid crane kick. And he did. And I've told people, there's a way to defend against that kick. Don't run face first towards it. Ricochet should have tried not doing that. But then it was even crazy as Ricochet's got Mike Bailey on the top rope, so Kenny Omega goes up, gets Ricochet in an avalanche one-winged angel, gets the pin over Ricochet, the win, and is still the AEW International Champion. And then after the match, a little tease for what might be next. As Continental Champion, Kazuchika Okada came out, giving a stare down to Kenny Omega. If you've you've seen any of their matches from New Japan, they are fantastic. I really want that rivalry to get going, and it's looking like it's going to be a title for title thing. We'll see what happens. But for right now, this match, like I said, match of the night, 5 out of 5. Yeah! And then a main event for the AEW World Championship, Swerve Strickland versus Jon Moxley. I know there's been a lot of hatred over this match, but I honestly thought it was really good. Wouldn't say it was amazing, but it was a good match. It was insane. Towards the end of the match, Hangman Adam Page comes out, making us wonder, based on what had happened on earlier weekly television, has he forgiven Swerve Strickland? Or is he still saying he's not going to allow him to win the title? Well, apparently he's forgiven him, because he helped fight off the other Death Riders. But then, the lights go out, and when they come back on, the Young Bucks are back, giving Swerve Strickland an EVP trigger, making us wonder why. Why would they do this? What do they got against Swerve Strickland? Why are they helping Jon Moxley? But either way, Moxley picks up the win, walks out with the briefcase, and is still the AEW World Champion. Which I know that's why most people are angry. They want Jon Moxley to lose the title already. They're not liking the whole Death Rider thing. Story's got to play out. But either way, this one, I disagree with everybody. I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah! So AEW Dynasty overall, damn good show. Unlike the last one, it didn't have that disappointing of an end. It had an end that made you curious. What's going on? Why is this happening? That makes you want to keep watching. That's the point of things. I was happily surprised with the AEW Tag Team Championship match, just because, again, I'm not a fan of Bobby Lashley, just because he's boring. And not only is he boring, but they just like to throw people at him for him to basically go tear apart. I like that he actually had a challenge. The women's match, I like the intrigue of which way is this going to go, especially because with her getting caught in a roll-up, it leaves it open for a rematch. One criticized match I will give is the ROH Championship match. It had the result I wanted. I wanted Chris Jericho to lose the Ring of Honor Championship and start focusing more on AEW again, because I'm still pushing for this. I get Tony Khan's been saying he's trying to build up Ring of Honor, give it more of identity before he gives it its own show again that you can actually watch somewhere, which I don't see why he can't just work out a deal with Max, but whatever. I'm not going to pretend I know all the intricacies there, but I really feel it's time to get Ring of Honor separated from AEW. Instead of constantly being on there every week, just give it its own roster that does not cross over. Basically let it be your developmental territory, kind of like what NXT is. And to me, this is a step towards it. I just really didn't like the finish. Since when do they restart matches because the crying relatives are pleading with a referee who wasn't even the ref of the match? It just seems like a kind of cheap finish to me. But ultimately, I'm just glad for the result. I'm very happy that Adam Cole, baby, is the TNT champion. With how long he's been in AEW, I get most of the time being out on injury. Still, it was time for him to get a title. The International Championship match, there was part of me that was kind of hoping that Ricochet would get the title, not Speedball, just because to me that title would help elevate Ricochet. It does nothing for Kenny Omega, but for him to win and the result being a showdown with Kazuchika Okada, I love the idea. I'm loving the idea of them doing title for title. I don't know which way I want that to go, but either way, it's just really awesome. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega, they always put on 5-star matches. The main event, a lot of people have been criticizing it. I don't understand what the issue is. Other than I get that people want the whole Death Rider storyline to be over. But you know what? It has to finish the story. We gotta get a real definitive ending. Because whereas I feel like the storyline could be done by now, at this point, it feels like it would be kind of cheap to end it anywhere but All In. So that's probably where it's going. It might end at Double or Nothing, but I don't see that happening. I see this going all the way till All In Texas. Granted, I would have loved to have seen Swerve Strickland win the title again, and it would have been poetic that he won it at Dynasty where he won his last championship. But at the moment, I don't know. I don't feel like he's the right one to unseat Jon Moxley. And again, with the Young Bucks making their return, it makes me go, why? It makes me have to tune in to find out why did they attack Swerve Strickland? What's their issue with him? And that's good, because that's the point of a good pay-per-view, is to settle certain things where getting you wanting more. This pay-per-view did its job. I wouldn't say this was the most amazing pay-per-view ever, but it was really, really good. I would easily give AEW Dynasty 2025 a 4 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos. And leave a comment I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me what you thought of AEW Dynasty 2025. Love you guys.